How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about Tales from the Darkside. This is Season 1, Episode 23, and this one's entitled Grandma's Last Wish. This is from June 16th, 1985, and is directed by Warner Shook. This episode stars Jane Connell and Kate McGregor-Stewart, and is written by Jule Selbo in a rare solo directing credit for Darkside. This is about an old woman. She's old enough that she's suffering very greatly, and she lives in a chaotic household with her son, her daughter-in-law, and her granddaughter. However, they eventually decide that she needs to be put into a retirement home. Well, the home can't pick her up for a week, so they say, "Hey, Grandma, how do you want to spend your last week with us? What is your last wish?" And she doesn't tell them. She definitely thinks of something, but she keeps it to herself. And then a series of mysterious accidents will start to happen to this family, and we get a classic case of anthology horror, karmic justice. And I guess I should get this right out of the way at the very beginning. This is quite the odd duck of an episode. A very weird episode, I have to say. This episode, you're following around this family, and a lot of what they're doing is seemingly inconsequential. It's these little bickerings, these little arguments, and it doesn't present itself as horror right off the bat. And even though you can kind of tell where this is going, it doesn't get to be blatantly supernatural or horrific until the very end. So, for the most part, it stays away from that. And this family, they talk over each other, they argue about random little things, they're talking about a million things at once, and to some, they'll probably be annoying. However, I mean, personally, I recognize so many people in this episode from real life, and the grandma in particular. The grandma reminds me in so many ways of my own grandma, one of them, and it's almost like they shrunk her down and put her in the TV. And yeah, these characters are really interesting, and I know some people aren't going to like them. To be honest, though, they did get a few chuckles out of me. But anyway, the humor in this episode is kind of odd as well. There's some big over-the-top humorous moments. The daughter running around doing cartwheels, the mom casually talking on the phone to her friend, and her friend's house is like being demolished or something. There is this big over-the-top humorous element to a few scenes. Personally, though, I think the humor works better when it's very little and subtle, and they do all sorts of humor. They throw a million things at the wall. Personally, I like it when the humor is just really little and off. There's this one scene, I don't know why I found it hilarious. The grandma's shuffling around, she gets to the fridge, and she goes, "Oh, look, I found a whole container of butter." And she grabs the container and holds it close to herself, like it's her greatest treasure or something. And I don't know why this is funny, and maybe it's just me being a weirdo, but her going, "A container of butter." I don't know why. It's just, her fixating on some little positive thing amid this chaos, I guess. Just her clenching that butter. I don't know what got me about that. But yeah, there's a ton of crazy, surreal stuff going on. But, well, not surreal over the top, just surreal in, I guess, speed and conversation. But the point of this episode, obviously, is just take a moment and think about getting old, You never really appreciate things when you have them, and to just take a minute and go, hey, this is my life now, just think about getting old for a minute and appreciate youth. Or at least that's what I think, that's what I got from it, you know? And yeah, it's not the best episode ever. I think there are definitely going to be some people that get annoyed by it. But I like the idea of, you know, just saying, hey, you're young, don't take it for granted. And there was some of the humor that did legitimately get me this time around, and I thought was pretty funny. So yeah, this episode really isn't going to be for everybody, but I thought it was funny, so I liked it. I don't know. Anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and talk a bit about the plot. I'm not going to be doing any major spoilers, but I do want to say my piece on a few plot points and make sure you guys have a basic understanding as to what this episode is about. So let's go ahead and dive into the plot. I'll be avoiding the end, though. Anyway, we open up with Grandma in this chaotic house. The granddaughter is running around doing cartwheels, and she is obsessed with this boy named Buzz, and she knows he's going to call, just give him some time. But this is a landline, and, you know, Tales from the Darkside is sort of, a time capsule for old technology. You see, in a landline, you got one phone call, and if the phone was busy, someone who wanted to contact you can't reach you. So the mom is on the phone a lot talking to her friends, and she says, if Buzz calls when you're on the phone, I won't be able to talk to him, and I need to talk to Buzz. So the mom and the granddaughter are arguing. The mom and her daughter, the granddaughter from the grandma's perspective, they're arguing about the phone, and the mom's having these really weird conversations that are going on way too long, but it sounds like one of her friends is getting their house demolished, but they don't seem to really care, so maybe it was a planned thing, maybe their house was bad and they're rebuilding it, but it's like, oh, really, they're tearing down your living room now, huh, that's interesting. I don't know, maybe she's joking. It's a weird conversation. But the grandma starts to butt in, and she says, I couldn't find the olives. Are they where they're supposed to be? Did someone move the olives? Can someone please help me find the olives? And no one wants to talk to Grandma right now. They kind of push her aside. Not literally, but they're like, Grandma, just sit down and watch TV. And she goes to turn on the TV, and the knob breaks off in her hand and the volume is way too loud. And they're like, dang it, Grandma, the TV's on too loud. Why'd you do that? So yeah, she's not in the best place. We then jump to dinner and we meet the dad in this family. And the dad, the grandma's going up to him and saying, you need to fix the step. There's a step outside. It's loose. I'm gonna step on it and fall down. It's a death trap. Do you want me to fall? Fix the step. And he's just, you know, really tired and trying to go about his day, and she's trying to get him to listen to her. And the daughter will come downstairs, and she's wearing this big 80s outfit. And from modern perspective, she just looks kind of silly, over-the-top 80s stuff. But the grandma and the parents are like, whoa, what is this? And the grandma really can't take it and says, you are not leaving the house looking like that. And this is one thing I like about the episode. They don't try to make the grandma a saint. You know, sometimes it's like, oh, I'm so poor and my family won't listen to my wisdom. The grandma's actually kind of mean in this episode. You can't go out dressed like that. You have to go fix the step right now, even though you're tired. And the poor dad in this episode, he's tired from a long day of work, and he reaches for a donut, and the grandma's like, no donuts for you, they're unhealthy. And oh man, if you want to tick someone off, just wait till they're tired and hungry and then take their food away. That ticks people off so bad. And then the wife goes down and gets one and she doesn't even notice. It's so subtly cruel, you know? But yeah, they don't make the grandma too perfect, you know? But later on, during this dinner, she will eventually fall, and that's like the first time, you know, something big happens in this episode. I know a lot of what I was describing seems a little inconsequential, and to be true it is, but that's what the episode is. It's a million little things coming from a million different angles, you know. Where's this? Where's that? Can you do this for me? Can you listen to me? And it's the whole time, you know, the daughter's running around doing cartwheels, the mom's on the phone, the TV's blaring, and she's just like, where is the freaking olives? Can someone tell me where the olives are? Are they in their place or are they not? And that's what a lot of the episode is, so yeah, it's not gonna be for everybody. But it's this chaotic mess until eventually Grandma does fall. And Grandma falls, and they decide, hey, we've been talking about putting her in a home. Maybe we should do that. And they get someone to come over, give a presentation, and he has to pull out his old-timey slide projector, because this is Darkside. It is a time capsule. So he actually has to pull out the projector and click through the slides, and he's telling him about the place, and it's sort of that, you know, phony happiness, you know, where he's like, oh, it's gonna be great, and you can kind of tell from the slides that it's not gonna be the worst place ever. It's not comically cruel or anything. You can tell, though, it's just gonna be meh, it's gonna be so-so, but they're hyping it up like it's gonna be the best thing ever, and it's really kind of just a depressing retirement. And the grandma doesn't really want this. It's gonna be a little expensive, and she'd rather not, but she can tell that this is what everybody else wants. And she can tell that this is what people want her to do, and she feels kind of pressured into doing it. So she signs the paperwork, and they say, we'll come get you in a week. It'll give you time to finish up here, get your affairs in order, and then we'll take you off to the nice retirement home. And the mom and the dad are like, well, that's great, Grandma. You got 1 week. What do you want to do in this week? Can we do something special for you? What's your last wish? The title of the episode, right? And the grandma thinks of something, but she doesn't say it. And they're left going, what is it, Grandma? Grandma, I didn't say it. What is it? And boy, is that kind of relatable when talking to old people. Just, what is it, Grandma? And she's just standing there. She's just staring off into the distance. And you know she's thinking of something, but she doesn't say. She doesn't say. And then, of course, mysterious little things, little injuries that don't appear to be in any way secretly evil or of greater importance or intent or anything, but things like the girl do a cartwheel and she'll sprain a muscle in her neck, and then, you know, the dad will try to be getting something off an upper shelf, and a pot will fall down and hit him on the head, but the family is starting to get hurt. Mysterious things are starting to happen, and it doesn't say right off the bat. You can tell pretty easily, especially if you read the episode description, what's going to be happening, but they don't spell it out. They just let it happen, and eventually you do get the big Darkside style reveal, and you get to see what this whole thing has been about. And yeah, kind of a weird, wacky, crazy family, a bunch of stuff going on, and the grandma can't keep up, and she's feeling left out. And yeah, this episode totally isn't going to be for everybody, but it does what it wants to do. You know, it wants to say, just take a moment and think about your life now and all the chaotic stuff, and then think about what it's like getting old. And it does its job. It does what it set out to do, but I don't think everybody's gonna like it. I think it'll just be a little too weird. It's not a huge horror element, and I do wish there was more horror to this. I mean, this is Darkside, right? But it does what it wants to do, and it's this weird little thing, and to be honest, it did get a few laughs out of me, so I did overall like this, but I know that some people are going to hate this one. But an interesting little side episode, and hey, you know, you get 24 episodes of Darkside this season. We can throw out a few more looser, experimental ones. We can do stuff that's different, and overall, I thought this was good, but I know not everybody's gonna like it. Some people are gonna get annoyed by this one, but I thought it was funny and an interesting idea. I do wish there was more horror to it, more supernatural stuff, but whatever. Anyway, To everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. And to everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my Tales from the Darkside playlist. If you want to see me talk more about this show, you can click right there and see more. I've talked about all the past episodes, so that's 22 episodes that came before this. I've also talked about the Christmas episodes. I did those earlier around Christmas. And the Joe Hill comic. So if you want to see me talk about a bunch more Darkside, you can find that in this playlist here. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.